Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Florida Writers Book Expo. My name is Michael Farrell, and I am a director of the Florida Writers Association. FWA is an all-volunteer, nonprofit group for all writers at all levels. We do writing conferences, workshops, webinars, podcasts, and events like this one. Here at the Florida Writers Book Expo, we have 60 booths across genres with some amazing authors for you to meet, and I'm joined by one of those wonderful authors, Nancy J. Cohen. Nancy J. Cohen writes the Bad Hair Day Mysteries featuring South Florida hairstylist Marla Vail. These books have won numerous awards, along with her nonfiction titles, Writing the Cozy Mystery and A Bad Hair Day Cookbook. Nancy is a past president of Florida Romance Writers and Florida chapter of MWA. So let's get started with our interview. How are you doing this morning, Nancy?
Great. Thanks so much for having me here.
Awesome. So, first question, we might as well get started with how did you get started with your writing journey?
Well, most of us as writers get started doing short stories or plays or poetry, so I went through that stage. And then I bought a book called Structuring Your Novel. This book took me step by step through each process to write a full-length book. So that's actually how I learned to write a novel. Then I wrote several until I joined Florida Romance Writers and got involved in a critique group, which tremendously helped propel my writing forward. I also attended a conference and met my first agent. So the agent tried to sell several of my books, and finally she sold the 7th book that I had written, and this proves that persistence pays.
Awesome, that's awesome. So what inspired your most popular book?
Oh, I don't know. I like to think they're all popular. My latest one is Easter Hare Hunt. That's been doing well. And this takes place at a wealthy estate in West Broward County near Fort Lauderdale, involving an Easter egg hunt. This is, here's the cover. And it's based on an estate that I had visited in Washington, D.C. called Hillwood House, which was owned by Marjorie Post. I was very impressed by this estate and the grounds, so I transplanted it to my area and had my hairdresser sleuth attend a Easter egg hunt there, where she discovers the dead body of the bunny rabbit out on the lawn among the Easter eggs. So that was fun to write. Plus, I could bring in all the history from this estate and just transfer it over to my story.
Awesome, that sounds great. So besides traveling, what else from your life makes it into your writing?
Everything. Really, as writers, most of our life experiences make their way into the pages. I also like to do research so that I can be on the site and have some of the personal experiences. For example, for Perish by Pedicure, I went to a Russian schwitz in North Miami Beach. I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't what I found. It was actually like a medieval type of spa with a lot of young men and women there. And so it was quite different than what I expected. But I had to put on a swimsuit, and I ran around with a towel over my camera and notepad. So that was fun. But I've done a lot of other things to learn about them in person, and just your everyday stuff like cooking mishaps or taking care of the dog. I mean, those things get written into the stories too.
Awesome. So with all the traveling, and I guess just really being able to incorporate things, what do you find to be the most exciting part of being an author?
I really love hearing from readers, so I would say reader feedback is the inspiration that helps me keep writing and makes me feel it's a fulfilling type of work that I do, because we help people find escape and a few hours of entertainment, which we all need, whether we get it from books or television. So that's my main goal. It's to entertain and maybe slip in a little education and information at the same time.
Awesome. I totally agree. It's definitely something about sharing, being capable of sharing your stories in a way through writing definitely is something special about it. So besides the most exciting part, what's the biggest challenge of being an author?
biggest challenge is marketing, because that can take up all of your time. Normally, I get up very early and like 4 o'clock and get my writing in, hopefully by 6 or so. I do set daily writing quotas because then the marketing aspects can take up all the rest of your time. And it's never enough. No matter what you do, there are more things that you need to learn, that you need to be on social media every minute broadcasting about your books, which gets tiring very fast. It's continuous and nonstop, and there's always new things to learn. So that is the greatest challenge.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, besides, I guess, like staying on top of marketing, what is one piece of advice that you would give to people who are trying to become authors?
Aside from learning how to write a book, I would advise you to attend workshops and writing conferences, and to join your professional writing organizations like FWA, because this is where you learn everything about the business of writing. You can take courses and read books on how to craft a novel, but what do you do with it after you've sold it or after you've published it? That's something that you learn from other more experienced people who can give you their advice. I have to credit everybody in the organizations that I belong to, my fellow writers, my critique partners, because that's where I've learned everything about social media and the marketing aspects of writing. So get involved.
Certainly, certainly. So, definitely, like when it comes to writing, it's not like we're writing in a vacuum where there's like no other input. So that input is definitely a major part of it, and feedback and critiquing. It helps to build our stories into what they are. So, we all have our inspirations. So, what are your favorite books from other authors?
I read in many genres. I like cozy mysteries, which is what I write. I like science fiction and fantasy because they're purely escapism and fun. And I read historicals, either romance or mystery. I actually started writing in the romance genre. So I combined my love for science fiction and romance into the story that was actually the first one I sold. And that book, Circle of Light, went on to win the Holt Medallion Award. So I started my career writing science fiction romance. I still like reading in those genres today, but I would say the books that got me started were way back when with Nancy Drew, Cherry Ames, and Judy Bolton. They influenced me in three different ways. Cherry Ames inspired me to become a nurse. I do have a master's degree in nursing, and I worked in that job for 10 years.
Awesome.
Judy Bolton series taught me that your main character needs to grow and change. And Nancy Drew, of course, inspired my love for mysteries. Then I went on to read the Horatio Hornblower series, and what drew me back from book to book was the character's evolution. It is critically important, if you write a series, that your character grow and change, have constantly changing relationships through the course of the story. Because in a mystery series, readers know they're going to get a murder mystery in each book, but they come back because they want to learn what happens to your characters. And that's one of the most important lessons that I learned.
Of course, of course. So you've written a book about how to write the cozy mystery. What is your personal opinion on like what makes the cozy mystery genre special?
That's this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, the cozy mystery is special because it offers readers a clean story with no graphic sex, violence, or bad words. It offers humor and often a touch of romance. There are also punny titles and fun covers that readers look for that characterize this genre. So, uh, in a cozy mystery, readers know exactly what type of story they're going to get. It has a happy ending, justice is served, The sleuth and her friends become friends to the readers. They expect to see the same continuing characters from book to book. It becomes like a family to them. And the town, the setting, is usually another character in itself. So these are fun, uplifting stories that readers know what to expect.
Awesome. Awesome. So, how would you describe your voice in writing?
I like to think my voice is humorous. That's how readers describe it. And fast paced, because I like you to keep turning the pages. So humorous, fast paced, and easy to read. That's the most important thing, because I'm offering escapism and I want it to be something fun for readers to pick up and to close the book with a smile on their face. So that's my goal.
Awesome. So, why do you think people will enjoy your latest book?
Well, Easter Hare Hunt has the Easter Bunny in it. It features around the popular holiday, whether you celebrate Easter or not, which actually I don't, and I have to learn about from my friends. But you learn something new from each one of my stories. I like to learn something new. That's what actually gives me the spark for each book and makes it different for me. So in this one, I learned about Fabergé eggs, which are a very valuable piece of art. I learned about love bugs that afflict us in Florida, more than you'll ever want to know about them. Uh, Russian artifacts and history, as well as things like beekeeping and honey production. So all these bits of knowledge are scattered through the story, and that makes it interesting for me as well as the reader. So that's Easter Hare Hunt. The one that I'm working on now, I just finished the first draft, is called Styled for Murder. And in that one, Marla's, my hairstylist sleuth, her mother finds a dead body in her shower when her bathroom is undergoing renovations. So, of course, then I could look up all the fun and interesting things people have go wrong during renovations, as well as other related items that may interest me. And that's what I like about each book. It's very different.
Awesome. So, what would you say is next for you in your writing career?
And yeah, I did also want to mention the cookbook because I like putting food in my stories. So I gathered all the recipes in here from my books and more, and that's written from Marla's viewpoint. Aside from Style to Murder that I'm working on now, and this is number 17 in the series, I am producing box sets for the first time. So I'm bundling the books in sets of 3, and they're coming out every other month. So I have those releases. I have hopefully Style to Murder coming out in the fall, and then I can always do more audiobooks. The first 4 of my works are currently in audiobook, and that means there's room for a lot more.
Awesome. So we are almost out of time, but first I want to, I guess, ask you for the people watching, where can we find you?
You can find me just about everywhere online. NancyJCohen.com is my website. I have a blog there that gives a lot of information for writers as well as personal life tidbits. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, you name it, I'm just about everywhere. So I hope that you'll connect and that we can be followers and friends and check it out. My books are available in ebook and print at most on-site online bookstores.
Awesome. So I guess we didn't talk much about publishing. Are you more of a self-publisher or do you go the traditional publishing route?
All of my earlier books were traditionally published. My romances were published with Dorchester and the Wild Rose Press. My mysteries were published with Kensington and Five Star. But then when Five Star dropped its mystery line, I decided to go indie, and that's where I've been ever since. I've gone back and revised and reissued all my earlier titles because I was lucky to get my rights back. So I have new paperback and ebook editions for all of my books. And currently I'm just publishing independently.
Awesome. So I guess for an author who's not yet published, do you have any advice for them?
Learn your craft. Don't give up. Never surrender. Never give up. Keep writing. And go to workshops, go to classes, join your professional writing organizations, support your fellow authors, and learn everything that you can. The learning never stops. So keep at it and think of the 3 Ps: persistence, practice, and professionalism, and you'll find success.
Awesome. So I guess, is there anything else? Is there any other advice you would give to someone to other aspiring authors, perhaps like in the marketing department? Because I know that can be very difficult for some authors.
Consider if you want to start a blog, because that will establish a platform for you and start getting your name out there. Also, a Facebook presence is important, depending on where your audience is. You really need to know who you're writing for. Like most of my readers are on Facebook. You might find yours on Instagram or Twitter, but pick one social media to start with that you can learn well and establish yourself. Write a blog if you're comfortable doing that, but start getting your name out there even before you are published. Very important.
Awesome. So you write both mysteries and nonfiction. Writing The Cozy Mystery and A Bad Hair Day Cookbook. What do you find which genre do you prefer personally? Like, what kind of differences do you see between the two? Any challenges, any?
Nonfiction is a lot harder than fiction, I found. With a novel, you know the structure. You're going from chapter 1 to the final chapter and basically telling a story. With nonfiction, you have to organize the material. Then you have to be critically accurate about everything that you do, especially like the cookbook. I had to go to the supermarket innumerable times to look up the actual measurements for things. I mean, what size box it's in or what size bottle, and everything has to be consistent. So that's the hardest part of structuring a nonfiction title: consistency and accuracy and organization. So nonfiction, harder.
Right. I definitely, so one pitfall that I believe a lot of authors fall into is they tend to write and edit at the same time, in a way where, like, the research is important, but there's a certain part for that research. So how exactly do you structure writing your books?
Okay, I will put myself on a writing schedule and try to do 5 pages a day, or I'll have a weekly goal, so I need to meet one or the other, either 5 pages a day or 25 pages a week, for example. Start the writing first thing in the morning and do this every day until the first draft is finished. I do not look back. I don't do critique group corrections. I save all of that for later. So the first draft is basically a stream of consciousness. I do have a plot to follow because I write the synopsis before I start actually doing the story. So I have a roadmap and I follow that. Now, if the story changes along the way, I'll go back and revise the synopsis. But 5 pages a day or a weekly goal until the first draft is finished. Then you go back and do the revision rounds, how many times it takes.
Awesome. Well, our time is almost up, so I want to thank you, Nancy, for joining us this morning. For those watching, be sure to stop by her booth at floridawritersbooks.com and check out her books. And as she mentioned before, she has her own website, nancyjcohen.com. There's a link to that on floridawritersbooks.com as well. We'll also have more live interviews right here on Crowdcast, so you can check back later. If you guys are interested in learning more about the Florida Writers Association, you can visit floridawriters.org. So again, Nancy, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to those watching for joining us this morning. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate your having me here.
No problem. Goodbye, everyone.